People are spending over $100 on a gaming PC case. What if you could just use something basic for 20 bucks? Let's check it out. So here it is, the open air case from Amazon. That's all there is. Apparently there's two versions. One's bigger. This is the smaller one. I'm not sure why you would want a bigger one, except the bigger one has more slots here. So this was $17. And you just get screws and a bracket. And I needed some sort of test bench thing. I was gonna make my own, but for this price, this is much easier. And so some people were saying that this doesn't fit right or something. I think because they were trying to do it this way, but it actually goes this way. So I'm going to put it together and then we'll talk more about it. You just need a screwdriver, and then you have to put the standoffs in. I actually have this for that. It's a 5mm socket. Makes it much faster. So let me put this together and then we'll talk about how this is all going to work. Back in a second. So here it is assembled. Just a few screws to the back for this. Some screws for the brackets for rigidity. I think a lot of people don't use this, but I wanted to put that there since it was included. And here's the standoffs. I used all of them because this is a big motherboard. The power supply will go here. I'm not going to use this one yet, but I just wanted to see how it looks. And it actually comes with a power switch, which is nice. I thought it didn't. And hopefully at some point here, I want to have some sort of handle because I want to be able to move it around a little bit. I don't want it to be stationary. So let's test fit the board and then we'll talk more about how this setup is going. So here's the board installed. This was my original GPU test bench. I wish I would have known about this earlier because this would have made things a lot easier. So this board was in a giant case before. You know, an upright case. And it was kind of a pain to put the GPUs in and out when I was doing the testing. And this was the GPU test board last year. I sort of retired it because it was too big. I couldn't find a case that it would fit, and I wanted something horizontal. I put the case horizontal, but then it took up the whole desk. But as you can see here, now it fits perfectly. And so this is an X79 board. And I wanted to get an X99, but I didn't find one. I tried to sell this board, nobody bought it. It's been on Java for 6 months or more. I just can't sell it. So I think we're gonna go back to just using this as the test bench. I don't have a backplate for it, but it doesn't matter in this case. The nice thing here is that this has its own power button, reset button, and then this is how this, so you can put a hard drive here. It's not mounted yet. A 3.5-inch hard drive. And then the SATA SSD goes there, fits perfectly. Power supply goes here. I just have to put on the heatsink and then hook up everything. And since now it's kind of a test bench and not actually a build, I don't have to worry about it looking nice. And also, my original plan a long time ago was to have, because this doesn't have onboard video, my original plan was to have a GPU that would just be always living there, like this one. I don't know if it'll be this one, but something like this. So I could put in a GPU here for testing, but then when I take it out, this one stays. So that's my sort of my onboard video card. And this could vary, but there will be one card that could just live there, because this is a 3-way PCI board. I think you get 3 full lanes, if I'm not mistaken. I'll have to double check that. And so there were, in the cases that I was finding, there wasn't enough space to have this and that, because the GPU would take up this much space, and then this would basically be just at the bottom of the case and there would be no airflow or anything. So, and I can't really use this as a build, because the thing is with this board is there's a lot of lights that come on. You'll see when I show you at the end. There's the temperature for the CPU down there. There's a red light that comes on over here somewhere. And when I used this as my daily driver before, it was really annoying. You can't turn off those lights. It's just part of the process. So this board was designed to be sort of configured this way. It's an overclocking motherboard. And so I think this is the perfect setup. $17 for the case. The board was free. The power supply, sort of free. Pretty much everything here you'll see when I show you the final build when it's done. Pretty much everything here will be basically free, except for the case part. And so because it was free and didn't cost anything, and I can't sell it, nobody wants this, it's fine to just keep it. Why not? So let me put the rest of the things together. We'll power it on. I have to figure out some sort of fan, not just the CPU cooler, but I noticed that people on test benches have usually a fan blowing like this to get to these parts. Since it's open air, you kind of want a little airflow over the whole board. So I have to figure that out. But let me finish it off and we'll be back in a minute. So here it is on. I had a little trouble with the setup. I thought I had all the parts, but I didn't. The power supply that I was going to use, I guess I sold it. And I only had this really old one just to turn it on. You can see here also that reset button counts as a hard drive light, which is convenient. And overall, it's pretty good. I have to just still put a fan over the heatsink because it does get hot. Also, the thing I didn't think about is you don't have any front USB ports here. So I have to find a solution for that so I could plug in a controller in the front. I don't want to have to reach around the back all the time. And then I have the capture card that I just got. And this is my setup here. So Xeon, it's a 2695. Yeah, 12 core, 24 thread. Kind of equivalent to a higher end 4th gen Intel, which should be just good enough for basic benchmarking of the older GPUs. So definitely for $17, very much worth it. I suggest it to anyone if you want to get into testing GPUs. I am going to go ahead and explore the motherboard a little bit more. I never really got to play with it. So in addition to the GPU stuff, I'm going to See if I can overclock the CPU again. I only tried a little bit when I first had it. So there's going to be another video about the Xeon and the motherboard following this one. If you're interested, I just didn't want this video to be very long. But everything worked out pretty good. And like I said, the fact that it comes with the power switch is very good. That is kind of worth $8 or $9 by itself. Even though I didn't need one, I can use it for other things. The side benefit here too is when the power supply, whichever one I get, is mounted, I can quickly unplug it and plug it into another motherboard on the side to test motherboards. So it's almost a dual purpose at that point. And then as far as the power supply, I'm gonna need something kind of beefy, I think. So the EVGA one that I have, I don't have the extra connections for it, and to buy those cables would basically cost as much as a new power supply. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get the Thermaltake 600 or 500. They're only $40 now, $45. I know people don't really like those, but it's cheap and it'll be new. And the nice thing is, let's say I make a build later, I can just unplug that power supply, put it in the build to sell, and then just get another one. So basically, I'm always going to have a new power supply on hand, but I can use it at the same time. So that's good. Anyway, thank you for watching. If you want to know more about the motherboard and the overclocking, stay tuned. Probably tomorrow I'll make the next video about just the motherboard and my plans for that. And then we're gonna finally get back to the GPU testing series. I have a couple of old GPUs that I never did test because I didn't have a test bench anymore. And so that'll be out soon. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you soon.
I get up, I get down.